I believe it's a matter of definition. What do you mean by that, the end of the world? I believe it's going to be a catastrophic happening. I believe it'll affect everybody in the world. Since we're in the United States, I tend to focus on that more than other places for that reason only. I think it's the end of the United States as a country and as a society. I think we're degrading fast. I think we're being brought down from inside of the American government. I think people are apathetic in government all the way down to the county levels. There's nobody to stand for the people. They're making bad decisions for the people. The government is bringing us down. BP is breaking us down too. I think the world is following suit. I think the scalar weapons have set off a pattern in the world. I think most of the disruptions are a result of weather modification and scalar weapons and earthquakes and so on. Make no mistake, the Tesla technology can affect the sun. This is a concepts and technology that Tesla talked about that could crack the Earth in two. He said he could crack the Earth in two with what we now call scalar. So the sun activity, I have a strong feeling it's man-made. Now, there are not too many scientists that understand scalar or know about Tesla. They would certainly disagree with that and give 1,000 reasons for the sun activity or the solar system. But we're dealing with something here that's quite extraordinary. Joe, I think you looked at it, you overviewed it a little bit, and I think you understand what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yes, sir. I certainly do. I mean, this cannot come to a good ending. As far as, well, let me say this. I can't say it's going to be all bad. I mean, if you think about it, rooting out corruption, and hopefully that's what it does, is a good thing. I hope and pray that I can be on the other side of it. But if I'm not scared. You know, I'm certainly not afraid of death. And if anything, it's a blessing in a time like this, or future times when the tribulation or tribulatory period is going to be so much more intense. But if you make your life simpler now, it'll help you endure these things. If you prepare yourself now, you will be able to have a better shot at doing certain things. But how much preparation can you make if you live by the coast and a tidal wave wipes you out? You know, all that food, water, and shelter that you had just really didn't do much for you. So, you know, it really is. I can only do so much, and then after that, I give it up, and I give it to I give it to God to take care of for me. Go ahead.
Joe, I wanted to just say this in between because Griff brought up a great point that I wanted to make. I don't think this is the end of the world either. I think it's the end of the world as we know it.
Right.
And my personal belief is, like, we're going to see what Jesus warned us of, what St. John of Patmos warned us of, what Daniel warned us about. We're going to see what the Mayans have warned us about, what the Hopis have warned us about, what the native tribes in North America have warned us about. That's what I see it as. Not the end of the world, but the end of the world as we know it. That's my personal bit, so please go ahead. I'd love to hear everybody's opinion.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Dr. Prepper, you're next. Why don't you answer Andrew's question?
I don't know where I got lost. Rephrase the question, Andrew. I'm sorry. I was thinking Sorry about what AC said or Griff said. I got lost in a cloud there for a second. My attitude about is it's the end of the world as we know it. I think I addressed that a little earlier, that it happens to some. You know, if my wife were to pass away suddenly, that would be the end of my world as I know it. If my car were to break down on the way to work, I don't work, but anywhere, if it were to break down because of my resources being invested other than in bank notes, it would be the end of the world as I know it. If one of my children were to die, for heaven's sakes, that would be the end of my world as I know it. That happens every day to some people. more and more it seems that we hear about because of the news being so prevalent. But basically, the Second World War changed our world as we know it. The First World War, Vietnam, Korea, all those things. Desert Storm changed our world as we know it. And the world ending is not to be dreaded, but to be expected that change happens. What's happening now, I think, is, Joe, you said it best. It's kind of a perfect storm. There's so darn many things happening at once that it's overwhelming. And as a result, we don't know what to do because it seems like every place to run is blocked by some problem area. And I've been thinking about that all evening. We are in a state of flux and change, and we can't get our arms around it or our mind around it.
Right. Henning, go ahead. What's your opinion on this?
I don't see we are at the end of the world either. We are in for a big, big change. We are in for, a so-called purification. That is no doubt about that. And Jesus, he also, in Matthew, he told his disciples that there will be earthquakes in various places. And we definitely see that now.
Absolutely
the earth
right.
is simply just ringing like a bell. And I'm following the seismic monitor live, and it's staggering. It is staggering. It's everywhere. And the readouts on the earthquake seismographs is out of scale. And especially in the Pacific region right now, it looks like it's dancing. Basically, so those signs are there, and I don't see it as an end of the world. I just see that a lot of people, because of earth changes, is happening right now, and they are escalating, and we have to think about the butterfly effect on this one too, or throwing the stone in the water. You throw a stone in the water, and rings comes out. So the first wave hit, and then the consequences of that has already taken place, and then the next ring comes and gives another set of problems. So it's escalating on itself, and eventually, I really suspect there will be a mass extinction of the human species due to what Earth is doing right now. And I also found out another thing, that is our atmosphere from NASA is shrinking. The roof to the ionosphere is shrinking. What is that? What's causing that?
And Henning, if I may, I do want to address, when I say the end of the world as we know it, I don't just mean on a personal level for individuals. I mean...
Yeah, I think that too.
My personal thought is the whole globe is going to be different. We're going to see we're going to see underwater cities come back. We're going to see current land masses go under. Yeah. We're going to see something that not one person on this planet is going to be able to turn their head away from. That's what I really mean when I say the end of the world as we know it. And hopefully, the Mayan prophecy is correct, and this is a rebirthing. And with people say rebirthing like, oh, it's a great thing, a new baby, but rebirthing involves stretching, tearing, blood, water, pain, screaming, and that's what I see it as. I think the Mayans really hit it. It's a rebirthing. It's a horribly painful process with a great result at the end. That's my personal view.
John, what do you think about that, Andrew's question?
Well, I think it's rather interesting that not only does it talk about it in the Bible and the Mayans talk about it, that the Hopis talk about it, that the Chinese talk about it. All these cultures that have never met each other, just by how ancient they were and the distances involved, and there's no proof that they have met each other, talk about this time period that we're in, and it's happening before our eyes. Now, is this the end of humanity? I don't believe so. Humanity has survived at least 2 ice ages, as from what science tells me, and we will endure. We are a very adaptable species. If our environment does not, if we cannot adapt to our environment, we adapt our environment to us. We're one of the very few species that can do that, and I believe that, barring the sun exploding, we will survive.
Well, that's certainly good to. I have the same opinion, John. I do believe that myself. Now, we do have a caller in queue. I'm going to try and bring him in. Area code 200. You're on the air. Go ahead. Can you hear me, caller?
Is this me, Joe?
Oh, is that you, Wooly? Yes, sir.
Yeah, it is, mate. How you going?
Very good. Speak up just a little bit, Wooly.